So take it away.
Thank you, Michelle. Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing well and ready for another exciting meeting at the Future Leaders Gavel Club. My name is Caleb Van Brunt. It is an honor to be your club president, and I would like to officially call this meeting to order. The Future Leaders Gavel Club is a Toastmasters club open to middle school and high school students in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Each meeting has three parts. The first part of the meeting is the prepared speech section, in which members will prepare a speech and give it to the club. The second part of our meeting is the table topics session, which is an impromptu speaking section in which everyone has 1 to 2 minutes to give an impromptu response. And the final part of our meeting is the evaluation section, in which the speech evaluators will evaluate the speech as well as functionaries will deliver very helpful reports. And with that said, I would like to hand control of our meeting to our Toastmaster for tonight, who is Rachel. Rachel, take it away.
Thank you, Caleb. I know we will have a really nice meeting tonight. And, well, I'm back, right? So it has to be a nice meeting. Our first section of the meeting will be the speech section, and the first speaker will be Michelle. I don't really have an introduction, so the floor is yours, Michelle.
Imagine this. You're scrolling on your social media posts from famous people or just friends showing up until you see your own post. You decide to click on it and read some comments, some nice and lovely compliments from friends or strangers. You scroll deeper and then you see a comment from a random person that reads in big, bold text. You look ugly. Now, that was an example of a social issue. They are commonly found in our lives, such as cyberbullying, inequality, mental health, that sort of things. But what exactly is a social issue? Now, social issues are problems that negatively impact the people or groups in our society. And to think that this is something that people experience daily, how does that make you feel? Now, why am I talking about this? Well, today I want to talk about two of these and how to deal with it if you're facing them. So, to start it off, I'll be talking about probably the most important, in my opinion, which is mental health. Now, mental health is a person's emotional, psychological, and social well being. It's a huge part of us and crucial to every stage of our lives, from childhood to adulthood and aging. But there are some negative sides to our health, and those are called mental illnesses. Now, please remember this is not me trying to inflict pain on others when I'm talking about this. But other people who develop them usually have something traumatic that happened to them, such as life experience, health issues, exposure to violence, and harshness. Now, some ways you can get rid of those issues is to just like grab a gun and shoot the cause of the issue. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Don't do that, don't do that. Something that you should actually do is therapy, medication, self-care, lots of support from people that you love and know. And now, since I made this on a short notice, inequality. Inequality usually refers to the unequal distribution of power, opportunities, privileges among different groups of people, often being race, gender, religion, or any other kind of social characteristics. And now, how do you solve this one if you're perhaps involved in it? You can treat all equally, balancing the opportunities these groups of people have. So now, all in all, in this social issues might be difficult to deal with and are going to be challenging, and of course, they're going to be in your lives at one point. But really, after dealing with it head on, you learn something important, and those important lessons are going to stick with you and your journey. So, what's my message? Try to stay away from bad people and influences and continue looking forward. of what's ahead and look at the positive instead of the negative. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Rachel.
Thank you, Michelle, for that speech. I think it's very important to be aware of mental health, especially now with social media. And I must confess, I recently did experience a problem on social media that could have had an effect on my health, but thankfully I didn't let it. Our next speech will be given by Angelina. The floor is yours. Wait, is
Rachel,
she?
Angelina actually just sent me an email saying that she wasn't able to prepare a speech in time, but in the meantime, we can have a short debate because I don't think
Okay.
Angelina is here. So, would it be possible to have a quick debate? Let's think of a topic. Um, does anyone have any topic suggestions about a debate? And who would be our two contestants or opponents? So,
This
Eliana,
might be kind of
two.
generic, but should teens have social media or not? I don't know.
I think that's a pretty good follow-up to Michelle's speech. What does everyone else think? Yay or nay? Okay, well, why don't we do that? So we will have the topic being, actually, Rachel, you mind writing it in the chat so that we can see it? And also, let's find two people who will be affirmative and negative. So who would like to be affirmative? Any volunteers? So teens should have social media. Okay, and for negative, let's see. Does anyone would anyone like to be negative? This topic. Eliana, let's see. You look like you like the topic. Would you like to be negative on this? Social media, teens should not have social media. We'll give everyone 2 minutes to prepare. Okay,
I'm okay with taking either side if nobody else wants to.
okay, so if no one else wants to, so Rachel, would you like to take one of the sides?
Maybe negative.
Okay, well, if no one else is volunteering, I suppose that I will volunteer to be affirmative. So in the meantime, actually, why don't we do this? Janya, if you have a table topics question ready, maybe you could ask that to someone while both of us prepare an argument. Does that sound like a plan?
The thing is, my table topics, I was thinking of the thing that I did last class that was like putting in the chat box.
Okay,
But
no
yeah,
worries at all.
I think that was pretty fun. I don't
Okay, no worries at all. We can wait with the table topics. So why don't we just start a one, actually, I'll be starting. So why don't we have a 1 minute timer? Who's our timer for tonight? Our timer is going to be, oh, actually, you know what? We forgot all about that. So Claire just sent a nice reminder that we need to do the introductions for the roles. So Rachel, if you could do me a favor and just quickly introduce the functionaries, and I think that'll give me enough time to write a quick debate.
Whoops. Sorry. Okay, my apologies, but we will now be introducing the functionaries for the evening. The first functionary is the odd counter. Eliana, will you tell us about the odd counter's role?
Um, as the ah counter, I will note words and sounds used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections, such as and, well, but, so, you know. Sounds may be or Thank you.
Thank you, Eliana. Um, Now I will be calling on Claire, the grammarian. Can you tell us about the grammarian's role?
Yes. As the grammarian, I will listen for the word of the day, which I posted in the chat. I encourage anyone speaking during any part of the meeting to use it. Throughout the meeting, I will listen to everyone's word usage and write down any awkward use or misuse of the language.
Thank you. Now I will be calling on the timer for tonight, who is Ethan. Is he here? Uh, do we have a timer tonight? Yeah, I don't think the timer's here. I think we might need a volunteer. Caleb, you're muted.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's here. That's strange. So would anyone like to volunteer to be timer?
I think I can do it.
So yeah, Janya can do be our timer.
Okay. Jania, can you tell us about the timer's role?
As the timer, I will be recording each speaker's time. I will use. Wait a minute. Wait. What? I'm so sorry, but okay.
It's okay.
I will. I will use a green background when you're at the right time and you can start to stop. And I will use a yellow background when you should start to stop your speech, and red when you shall stop your speech. Thank you, and back to you. That was
No, it wasn't bad. Thank you, Jania. Um, Caleb might be ready with his debate now, so I guess we can get started on that.
All right, thank you so much, Rachel. The time will be 2 minutes for this debate. So Janya, you can put 2 minutes on the clock. Teens. Each and every teen should have social media. But social media produces negative health effects. Social media produces anxiety and increases risks of things like suicide. Nah. Social media is critical to keep teens connected. Imagine a world where there wasn't social media. And think of some of the kids in your high school, like the rowdy ones, the ones that can't keep still, the ones that are always up and causing trouble. Now, imagine they didn't have social media. Just imagine how much more trouble, how much more havoc they would create in your school, in your neighborhood, because they don't have social media. But instead, the negative effects of their bad behavior is mitigated by that little app on their phone that keeps them connected to other like-minded peers. That way, they can contain themselves and perhaps for just a short while entertain themselves and not go on a rampage and destruction and destroy and just create a lot of disruption in your life. This is a main reason why we must keep social media. Yes, it has negative health effects. Yes, there are things that people say are bad about it. But just imagine if there wasn't any. What would happen? It would be a world of sadness, of hurt, and of misery. Therefore, we must do all that we can to keep social media and keep those kids who are always causing trouble on something that maybe it's not the best thing for them, but it's the best thing for us. Thank you, and back to you, Rachel.
Now I will begin my 2-minute rebuttal. Caleb, you addressed some interesting points in your 2-minute speech, but there were some holes in your argument. First of all, kids who are rowdy should not be calmed down by social media. Like you said, it's not the best thing for them. And you said they could stay connected with people who are like-minded. But sometimes online connections can detract from in-person connections. And if these kids are spending too much time on social media, then they are more likely to lose connection with their family and the people they know in person. And people tend to form better connections with people they do not meet online, but instead meet in person, and it's a real face-to-face connection instead of on the internet. And some other reasons why teens should not have social media. One reason is it might cause them to start oversharing. Oversharing can be very dangerous because there are a lot of people online who will attack teens if they share too much. And there are even normal people online who will attack teens. Other teens will attack these teens for what they post. Like Michelle said in her speech, some people look at a post and say it looks ugly. And other types of drama can occur on social media, such as blocking someone or simply taking them off their close friends list on Instagram. Social media issues can be really scarring to teenagers and their mental health, and it's best to do all we can to prevent these issues from happening.
Thank you, Rachel, for your rebuttal. Now we'll have 1 minute on the timer. All right, I will begin. My above argument, that of, it's keeping teens connected and all that, that's just scratching the surface. Rachel was trying to counter my argument with a few more negative effects. That's okay. But now enter the dark side of Caleb. It's not that we need to keep teens connected. It's to keep them subservient. You see, the whole reason that we have social media is so that teens and people that use it cannot learn to think for themselves. It's so that they can continue to look at their screen and see that what they are reading is what they think, the truth. But in reality, it's not so. Social media is the tool that the high ups, the people in power, use to keep the populace subservient. And this is why we must continue to maintain social media. Because if social media is no longer there, imagine if social media ceased to exist, then people would be able to think for themselves. Teens would be able to think for themselves and not have social media do the thinking for them. But instead, having them on social media just makes it simple. Social media does all the thinking, and the higher ups do all the thinking for social media, which in turn creates a world that favors the higher ups, the people in power, and a world where those who watch social media are subservient. Therefore, we must do everything in our power to continue to captivate with social media. Thank you, and back to you, Rachel.
I think there was a very obvious downside to Caleb's rebuttal. We should not listen to rebuttals like that. That is nonsense, and that was not what our world was founded on. Trying to make everyone subservient, now that is stuff of ancient times. No, we do not live in a country with kings or emperors. Other countries do, but I do believe that a lot of places have a lot more freedom than they did in the past. And should we really let the higher ups use social media to make that worse and fool the people with lies? I don't think so. And when the brain is still developing, it can cause a lot of problems to your enter information. Not to mention inappropriate content, which is something I should have mentioned earlier, because a lot of people don't put age restrictions on things, and that is a huge problem. But if teenagers are exposed to all this at a young age, not just bad content and social issues, but also untrue information, what will the world come to? We'll never get anywhere if we're just subservient to the higher ups all the time. So I think it's very obvious that people should not have social media until they're old enough not to be fooled by all these lies. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for that response. And I would like to actually go on to the next portion. Actually, let's do something different, because now that I have signed into the account, we can actually create a poll, and all of you can vote to see who you think won the debate and whose speeches you enjoyed most. So I think we could do that right now. That would be pretty fun. So I'm gonna just do a quick poll debate, and winner Caleb affirmative and Rachel. Okay, so there's a completely anonymous poll, and I will launch it right now. Let me see, save as a meeting poll, and let me see if this works. Launch. Okay, I think you should have gotten a poll. Let's see if this works. So go ahead and put your answers in, and a few of you are starting to answer. Okay, let me see. Raise your hand if you have not voted yet. Okay, 6 out of 6. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7. Let's wait for one more person. Okay, I think that's enough results. The results are in. Can I share the results? Can all of you see the results actually? Okay, well, it looks like we have one winner, and it is Rachel. Congratulations, you got 75% of the vote. I only got 25% of the vote. Oh, so sad. So sad. It's okay. Rachel, congratulations, and oh, share results. Hey, oh look, there is the results. Yay. So thank you to Rachel and myself who participated in this debate. And now I would like to hand it over to Janya to lead us in the table topic session.
Thank you, Caleb. So for today's table topics, I will basically be doing the same thing that I did last time that I was a topics master, and that was I will be sending a group of brands. So today it will be cars or vehicles, and I would like you to talk about it. So anybody who wants to go first, or I can. What about Michelle? I don't.
Yeah, I can speak first, but first, can I get the instructions again?
Yeah. So I've sent a group of vehicle brands in the chat box, and I would like you to pick one of them and talk about one of them.
The Honda. It's something I live with my whole life, basically. My grandparents drive one, and they still use it to this point, after years of owning it. Now, this car changed my life, because it was basically the first real transportation I would have besides walking or using a bike. This, from changing my walks to my school slowly, changed into a minute's drive to my school, obviously. And even when it's not going to school, it's still handy. For example, going shopping, going to, I don't know, going to the mall, going outside for a walk because I need to touch grass. My bad. And I think Honda's a very good brand in general because I see people use it all the time. And oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, just take that as my whole thing because I didn't have any idea what to talk about it. But back to you, Janya.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, and I think Honda is a pretty good brand. And Claire, would you like to go?
Sure. The one I will choose is Tesla. When it comes to the future of automotive technology, Tesla for sure is undoubtedly leading this whole list of cars. Their innovative and unique approach to electric vehicles is so fascinating, and immediately it strikes your eye. Tesla's focus on creating cars with cutting edge technologies will for sure transform our world, and it is on its way to creating a different future. So when I look at this list, immediately I see Tesla. And it's at the number 2 position right now, but I'm sure it'll climb its way up very soon. Thank you, and back to you, Janya.
Thank you, Claire. So, would any of our guests like to go? Hamilton, Devin.
Okay, I can go. So for me, I love Mercedes-Benz for the best because so first of all, I consider it's a good car brand, even though like long before I like at that time I think Mercedes-Benz don't have that much. Like it's pretty good and plus it's luxury and high quality using a lot of high quality materials and it's a big brand of cars. So we got Maybach, S-Class, E-Class, and C-Class, and these type of cars. You can choose which type of like how expensive it is and how good it is by how many budget you got. So I mean, it's a big brand and it have advanced safety features, powerful engines. It's also got like smooth driving experience and cutting edge technology as well. So for me, it's probably a pretty good car brand. To
Thank you, Devin. That was really great. Oh, and I see Ethan's back. Do I still be the timer or?
Oh, so Ethan, so that you're caught up. We had Janya be the timer as we weren't sure where you were, but now that you're here, if you'd like to be the timer again, go ahead.
I mean, I can do that. I just have to find my I just have to find my timer pictures. Yeah. Yeah, my apologies. I forgot there was a Toastmasters meeting for the first time since I joined this club.
Yeah. Wait. So do I continue with the table topics?
Yeah, and also Janya, maybe you can repost the questions so that Ethan can see the questions as well.
Okay, yeah. So maybe our second guest, Hamilton, would like to go.
yeah,
This stage is yours.
okay. Can I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
The car, the car I take it is Rolls Royce. The car is very expensive and modern. Not everybody can buy it because they want their famous and their population. The car is so expensive and also we can't buy it with our money itself. We also need our popularity and like actors, etc. I also wanted to buy this car because it has more facilities and more more facilities and has also control and good. But I want to become a popularity person in the world, like Albert, etc. Some actors. But I want to become a scientist. How can I buy it? Let's see I buy it in the future or not. And if I buy it, I will buy the car. If I can't buy it, I will go on to Tesla to buy. And the Rolls Royce is so popularity, but not everybody can buy. Thank you.
I just realized I was talking while I was muted. Um, William, would you like to go?
Yeah, thank you, Janya. I'll choose Ford. Henry Ford was one of the most quintessentially known American businessmen to ever live on this planet. He founded what was known as a streamlined automobile assembly line and mechanized American culture for years and years to come. Ford dominates in terms of its old, rugged reliability and its reputation in the eyes of Americans. As Americans, we believe that Ford and Chevy are the primary two car brands that have been domestically produced, manufactured, and used by Americans for years. But Ford, and I might be stating a controversial statement here, but I believe that Ford trumps Chevy in any characteristic, whether it be comfort, reliability, safety, you name it. Ford is the go-to car. And this car isn't like some of the others on this list. Like Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, BMW. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have one of those cars. But in terms of family income and fiscal reliability and my own fiscal savings, it's most reliable and most and least quixotic to get a Ford. The Ford is also associated with the expansive Steel Belt region, which covers the states of Illinois, Wisconsin, Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, parts of New York, and I believe Michigan. So it's a very nice area to work and to live, and that's the heartland of American industrialization. If you go to any of those states and you look at the old manufacturing plants, you'll see that many of them are labeled Ford, which isn't surprising given that Ford is a homegrown American business and will continue to be for the rest of its existence. Back to you, Janya.
Thank you, William. And I've got to know a lot of information about Ford today. Uh, Rachel, would you like
I
to
will
go?
be, okay. I will be talking about Toyota. My mom has had a silver Toyota ever since I was honestly barely 1 year old. And I have been riding this car, whether it's the front seat or the back seat, most of my life. And I think it's a very good car. Too bad they don't make them with manual transmission anymore. But my mom has a manual transmission and she has a cool radio in her car. And the silver, the silver is one of the best parts, right? Toyotas are so cool and convenient that I almost got a Toyota Tacoma for my first car. Instead, I ended up with a 2024 Kia Forte. But Toyotas are very practical cars, especially an FJ Cruiser, because a lot can be stored in the trunk and maybe even on the top of the car or the back of the car. Besides, if you were to get a car like that for yourself, then if it was a higher car, then who wouldn't want to drive so high? It gives you a good view of the road, am I right? That's why I would recommend a Toyota, whether it be a Toyota Tacoma or an FJ Cruiser or a different sub type of Toyota. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Now I might want to buy a Toyota next time. I mean, I'll ask my parents. But yeah. Ethan, would you like to go?
I assume I'm just going to talk about one of these car brands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to assume that I cannot talk about a car brand that somebody else has already discussed, and I believe just as I joined, after snapping out of my days-long reverie, that somebody had already discussed Tesla. So I will try to find a different car brand to discuss today. Now, what may seem like a quite unfortunate bit of news to everybody, I am not a car aficionado. I know what all of the different brands are called and that they represent distinct makes and models of vehicles, but I am nowhere near as knowledgeable about the intricate details of each brand of car as I am about certain other subjects. I'm sure you can all imagine what those other subjects might be. However, I could give you a bit of a personal I could give you a personal gripe I have with the car I currently own and what I find better in one of the brands on this list, which is Porsche. I always found the pronunciation of the last E in Porsche slightly weird. I've always pronounced it Porsche subconsciously, especially subconsciously. Porsche is the brand that manufactured the car my mother currently drives. The car I currently drive is a Lexus, which I see is not on this list. So I will not talk about my car, but the current Lexus, I believe NX300 that I owe too much. But I do have one problem with it. It's slow rate of acceleration. Have you ever tried to get somewhere very quickly and you depress the accelerator and you find that your car makes more noise than actual torque? I don't know how many of you have had this problem, but my vehicle certainly does. Not only does it consume hydrocarbons at frankly a rate that is almost scarily quick, but the engine often produces more noise than actual torque. So I have to press the pedal extremely hard just to accelerate more than 2 miles per hour per second, which is a little on the slower side of things. However, I hear that the engines in certain Porsche models are a lot more powerful than that. So if I could fix my so if I could fix my current vehicle, I would definitely give it the engine like the one in the Porsche that my mother currently drives, because it sure as hell can accelerate a lot faster than just 2 miles per hour per second and sustain that for more periods of time, and also not scream at 40 decibels so that I can hear it throughout the entirety of the inside of the vehicle, even though it's supposed to be soundproof. Back to you, John. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Ethan. So yeah, I find the last letter of Porsche, E, to be weird too. So, so who's left? Did 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 Eliana go? Oh, would you like to go?
Maybe I'll pass this time. I'm not like an expert on cars, and I don't know any of the other ones.
Or you can like choose the ones that has been done before too, if you would want to.
Okay, I guess I'll do Tesla then. So, I have the great privilege to actually own a Tesla, actually my family, but so we drive it around a lot and it's very convenient because, well, it we don't have to get gas for one, and um we it actually accelerates really fast, and also the inside is like really nice, and we can play some games or like use the seat warmers. And another good thing is that it's not loud at all, and it's not using any fuel, and it's not releasing any uh, carbon into the air. And it's really nice, and I really like it. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliana. That was really great. And I think Caleb hasn't gone yet, if I'm right. Caleb, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Janya. Imagine you were sick. We're not sick with any kind of disease. Instead, you are sick with car fever. Let me introduce you my neighbor. His name is Mr. Adam. That's not his real name. Mr. Adam is retired and is my neighbor. One time, he was telling us about his financial difficulties, how he is only getting his retirement money and just having to take some money out of savings. And then, one day, to solve his problems, here's what he did. He bought a brand new 2024 electric SUV Hyundai. And my family was surprised. Why would someone do this? Because this particular neighbor of mine already had a very nice car. And the reason is car fever. And the lesson that I want all of you to take away is, one, cars are nice, and some of them drive really nicely, some of them look really cool, but the truth is, cars are not everything. There is more to life than a car. And also, cars are not really good when it comes to finances, because cars, if you buy them on a loan or lease them, they are expensive. And they will eat into your savings for really no good reason other than you're wanting to look cool and have a nice car. But the third lesson that I want all of you to learn from Mr. Adams buying this shiny new Hyundai, even when he didn't really need it, is that you need to plan ahead. Because this Mr. Adam had financial difficulties. And why did he have financial difficulties? Because he did not spend his money wisely. He did not invest his money wisely when he was younger, when he was still working. And now he wants to be rich. He wants to act like a rich person having a very nice car. But in reality, that is not the case. In reality, it is making him poor. Therefore, all of you take away the lesson that car is not everything and plan ahead. Thank you, and back to you, Johnny.
Thank you, Caleb. That was amazing. I'm actually speechless. Do we have anybody else left that has to go? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I hand back the control to the Toastmaster. Oh no, the general evaluator. Sorry.
Thank you so much for that innovative and no, I was gonna try to find some way to work quixotic into my sentence, but it doesn't fit well with the context. So I'll save that for another time. So first of all, to kick off our evaluation portion of tonight's meeting, I would like to first call on our Speech 1 evaluator, Caleb, who is evaluating Michelle's speech.
Thank you so much, William. Let me pull up Michelle's evaluation because I thought I was on the evaluation, yet I was fortunately still on my debate. Michelle, congratulations on a wonderful speech tonight. You captured our attention by asking us about perhaps a time or situation regarding social media. You use excellent hand gestures. I could see your hands moving with your speech. And you gave us an important message at the end. Now, some things that you could perhaps improve is add a story about someone or someone you know who experienced, or perhaps it was yourself, something related to your topic of social media and the negative effects, because a story will really engage the audience more and lean in. Because instead of using a dictionary definition, like saying, well, social media means this and this and this, we're not really as interested in that as what it means to you. What has happened in your life that has made you passionate about this topic? So find a way to perhaps incorporate a story into your speech. Another thing that you could improve on would be to add some vocal variety. You had great hand gestures, but sometimes your voice was monotone, in not a bad way, but it was just a little bit high energy. And the high energy is really great, but sometimes you want to bring that down just a little bit so you can emphasize a point. So for example, if you were saying a story, you were saying, one time I was on social media and I saw a post and it really hurt. But then I realized, exactly, it's something like that. You can really use your voice to communicate a story and to just enhance your speech entirely. And lastly, to challenge yourself, I would challenge you to stand up, because standing up does something to your speech and it gives you more power, more fluidness almost, so to speak, and it makes it so that you have more power behind what you're saying, and furthermore, it helps everyone to see your gestures, etc. So if you are able to, maybe consider bringing up your laptop or your computer or your tablet, whatever you are using, maybe with a pile of books or whatever, just a little bit, and see if you can stand up. And I think that will make a big difference. But Michelle, you gave a wonderful speech. Thank you so much for sharing about social media and its effects, and I hope to hearing another wonderful speech soon in the future. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator William.
Thank you for that evaluation, Caleb. I will now move on to our counter for tonight, who is Eliana. By the way, side note, since we don't have a speech to evaluation, you know what? Never mind. I'll scratch the idea. I was gonna provide a bit of feedback on the debates, but looks like we'll have to get through the rest of the reports first before we do that. So Eliana, please take it away.
Okay. Um, Everyone today was really good, and let's see. The speaker one and the two debaters, you were all very good, and I didn't catch any ums or any of those things. And let's see, Janya, you had a couple ums and stutters, but that's fine. And the two first table topic speakers, Michelle and Claire, you were perfect, and I didn't catch any stutters. And Devin, congrats on your doing a table topics on your first meeting. You had a couple ums, but overall you were very good. And same with Milton. You had a couple stutters too. And Rachel, William, and Ethan, you were all pretty good with maybe just a couple ums, repeats, and pauses. And had a lot of ums, I think. And yeah, but Caleb, you were also perfect on your table topics. And the general evaluator and evaluator one, you were perfect too, and I didn't catch any ums. Thank you.
Thank you, Eliana, for the succinct counter. Sorry, counter report. We'll now move on to our grammarian, Claire.
Thank you, William. Starting off with our speaker one, Michelle. Overall, I really liked how her speech was very conversational, but maybe focus on replacing some informal phrases. I just noticed a few here and there, like or stuff like that. And I also noticed a little bit of the rule of three, which is where you list things or you list three things, and overall that creates more power in a speech. So I like that. And then as for the debates, Caleb, overall, I did not notice any awkward use of grammar. For Rachel, I liked how you used powerful words like dangerous or scarring. Those were great adjectives. And as for the table topics, starting with Michelle, overall, no awkward use of grammar. Devin, I loved how you had a great usage of some words and phrases like cutting edge technology, and your table topics response was great. And then Amothan, I loved how you used a variety of adjectives. And also near the end of your table topics, I noticed you asked like a question, or you said something like, I will see if I can buy it in the future. And I thought that was a nice touch to end it. And then for William, thank you for using the word of the day, quixotic. And I think I heard quintessential too, which was one of our past word of the day. And I also liked how you used lists. So you kind of named a lot of things in a list. So that was nice. And then for Rachel, thank you for sharing a lot of knowledge, great phrasing overall. For Ethan, you had a lot of phrases as well, like intricate details that I liked. And then Eliana, you had very smooth phrasing overall, and maybe adding in some like powerful or a variety of adjectives would really help to boost your speech. And then Caleb, I liked at the beginning of your table topics, you said car fever, and that kind of like outlined the rest of your speech, was very nice. And yeah, overall, that concludes my report. Thank you, and back to you, William.
Thank you, Claire. And now, last but not least, we have our timer report from actually, since Janya and Ethan, I think Janya, you have the first half of the meeting, and then Ethan, you had the second half. Why don't you guys just both do the timers report? And maybe Janya, when you get to maybe midway through the table topics, you can turn it over to Ethan, but I'll let you guys figure it out as you go.
So I'll just start it and uh, so I missed Michelle's speech as yeah, we didn't know there was no time there were no timer at the start. But starting with the debate, Caleb had 1 minute and 58 seconds at the start. And then for the rebuttal, Rachel had 2 minutes and 13 seconds. And then Caleb, for his rebuttal, had like 1 minute 45 seconds. And then Rachel at the end had 1 minute and 27 seconds. Coming to the table topics, Michelle had about 1 minute 3 seconds. Claire had 21 seconds, and Devin had 58 seconds. And I think Ethan was back at the time. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so due to my very unfortunate mishap, as you can see, any positive views you may have had of me these last few weeks have unfortunately been rendered quite the chaotic aspirations. Because as you can see, this is not the only important thing this week that I've forgotten. My brain must be thinking about the holidays too much, even though they're all still 2 weeks away. But I was at least able to time the last 6 table topic speeches. Hamilton at 2 minutes and 5 seconds. William at 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Rachel at 1 minute and 43 seconds. Me, and if you needed any more convincing that my mind has not been the same since December, I spoke for 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Ouch. Eliana 1 minute and 11 seconds. Caleb 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Yeah, okay, I was making sure that, yeah, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Although, to be honest with you, his table topic speech sounded a lot more meaningful than mine did, even though it was only 3 seconds shorter than mine. Caleb was also the first evaluator, where he clocked a time of 2 minutes and 20 seconds, approximately. My watch refused to start after I pressed it, so it may be a couple seconds off. I did not time the odd counter or grammarian because, let's be honest, 60 seconds is nowhere near enough for them to get in all of the detail that they wanted to include. And if I said some number that was way above 60 seconds, that would probably not look so good, so I just decided to not do that. All right, so back to General Evaluator William.
Thank you, Timer Ethan, for the detailed report. I'll now commence a very quick general evaluation of our meeting. I thought the speeches today were well prepared, and I commend President Caleb on his quick thinking to steer away from our speech two discrepancy and move on with a debate, which personally I thought was very interesting how both parties argued either for or against teenage social media. I thought Janya did a great job again as the table topics master. Last time I think it might have been clothing. I'm not entirely sure what the last table topic session hosted by Janya was like. Clothing, right? And this time it's cars, so always getting us to try to think into the perspective of something we might not entirely know about. Personally, I'm not very big into cars either, like some of our fellow Gavaliers said. As for the evaluation portion, I have some tips for the evaluators and functionaries. Caleb, I thought you employed a good hamburger structure. You started and ended with basically what Michelle did the best in during her speech, and I specifically like how you mentioned that she did she could further improve by telling a story, because I think storytelling is something that takes a while to practice and make progress on. So I think storytelling is definitely important in any successful speech. Moving on to I'll counter Eliana. I thought, Eliana, that you did a good job overall in logging the ahs, ums, and ers. I would just say that sometimes for the listeners, it's hard to keep track of what you most need to improve on. So for future participation in the I'll counter rule, personally, I would recommend, even if it draws out the time just a bit, kind of look at each person and give them a summary of what their most common types of crutch words are. So do they want to improve most on cutting down on the ahs, the ums, or is it the uhs? Basically giving them a little more specific. I just used a crutch word. I think my crutch word tonight is definitely but you I think you get the idea. Mary and Claire, I liked especially how you transition not only in the grammar aspect in the English language, but you also talked about structure. And I think that's something that's very important that sometimes we overlook, and I think that merits a lot of appreciation. And Ethan, great job as usual with the timers report. I still remember the times when you used to have the percentage spreadsheet and you provided that to the club, but hopefully, and this is just a suggestion with a grain of salt, if there's someone like me who goes way over time and maybe doesn't fully register that he or she is going over time, sometimes maybe it may be helpful to prick them with the 300% over time or something like that. But that wraps up my general evaluation of the meeting, and I'd like to turn control of the meeting over to President Caleb.
Thank you so much, William, for your report. Ooh, looks like we're a little bit overtime today for the first time in like 3 months. So no worries at all. I just want to have a few final announcements. Remember that this Sunday, Claire is going to be competing in the American Gavel Club speech competition. So that's going to be at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, 4:30 Central time. So if you're able to make it, definitely go and support Claire. And Claire, we wish you the best of success in this contest on behalf of the entire FLGC. So definitely good luck in the contest, and we hope that most of us can join and support you. Then next is that on next week, on the 18th, we're going to have Dr. Robin Dickinson give us a workshop here at the FLGC. So definitely invite your friends to come to this workshop. And since it's kind of going to be during the time that school is out, if you have any friends that maybe can't make the usual FLGC meetings, but who are available and whom you think would really benefit from this workshop, definitely invite them. I've already invited a few of my friends who usually can't make the FLGC, and I really hope they enjoy it. So definitely come and invite your friends. And I know that Dr. Robin is going to share lots of powerful insights into careers, and not necessarily the medical field, but to a wide variety of information that we can all apply to any career that we may be looking towards in the future. So with that said, sorry, I thought I was stopping my share and I actually was muting myself. So lastly, I just want to mention that after the workshop, the next 2 weeks, we're going to take a break because that is going to be Christmas and New Year's Day respectively. So go and celebrate with your friends and family. And we will be back in January. That's going to be January 8th, I believe. Yes, January 8th will be the next FLGC meeting after the 2-week break and after the workshop. So at this point, does anyone have any questions, comments, or feedback about the meeting tonight?
Hi, President Caleb. Very quick, the good news, advisor Melissa, she had some friends and it's a group of parents that are interested in FLGC. And it's their kids most probably is in, some of those are in middle school and high school. And they are interested in knowing more about the Youth Toastmaster Club. For next meeting, I have a proposal. So introduce FLGC maybe from 3 different perspectives. Number one, Melissa is having these parents in the WeChat group. So if you are using WeChat, if you are interested in, definitely you are welcome to join the group to answer the parents' question through the social media. So that's option number 1. Option number 2 is in next weekly meeting. So that will be the last for this year. I'm proposing or recommending that we can start the meeting room maybe like 30 minutes earlier. So then provide the parents the option. If they want to join, they're welcome to even stay for the workshop, the career talk. But before that, if any of you have time, join in maybe 30 minutes earlier to answer their questions face to face. Then option 3 is provide them another potential Zoom meeting, and we will need some volunteer to come to that meeting. But for that one, we have to get the parents involved to get a time that work for them. Most probably it will be during the weekend. So we have the email communication, and we will keep the group, keep our club posted. But want to hear your thoughts about the 3 options.
Yeah, I think if they can come maybe 30 minutes earlier to the meeting, I think I can be there and answer any questions they may have. And if they want to stick around, that'll work. So
Yeah.
definitely invite them and just tell them to come 30 minutes early, and I can answer questions.
Okay, perfect. Then we can go from there. So they may have certain questions, we can address them through social media. So now at least they have 2 options. And if the parents' feedback say we couldn't make it, we want to have another time, then Caleb, I will connect with you, try to have a time, maybe work during the weekend for the parents, and then we can propose with the club. We will need a couple of club member volunteer as the advocate for the club and answer questions for those parents. Okay.
Yeah, that works
All
out.
right.
I think that works out great.
Okay.
So
all right. Thank you.
does anyone have any last additional comments, questions? I know we're running way over time at this point. Okay, if not, then I guess I'll just continue with the overtime because I wanted to share just this quick thing. Last Sunday was my youth orchestra's Celtic Christmas concert, and the only reason I'm sharing it is because it's something really unique, because the Celtic part of it is bagpipes, organ, and Scottish drums. And if you click the link, our orchestra is actually playing near the second half, and you'll see me, and you'll also see Eliana in the video. So it's going to be it's a really fun concert, and there's bagpipes, and another really fun part of it is we did Sleigh Ride, Leora Anderson's Sleigh Ride, and that came out really well. So if you have a chance at any point during the week, definitely check it out. And with that said, thank you everyone for coming. Please invite your friends to the Dr. Robin workshop coming up next week, and we will see everyone here next Wednesday. So thank you everyone, have a great week. I'd like to adjourn this meeting, and we will see everyone next week. Bye everyone, and have a great week.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye everyone.